Welcome to the Small Business Spotlight. I have Avery Appelman with me today with Avery Law Firm, and we are extremely excited to talk about our first client who received their funding today from the Paycheck Protection Program. Welcome, Avery.
Hey, how are you, Heidi? Thanks for having me.
Doing great, doing great. So today we just wanted to kind of talk through the process and the timing so that you can share your success story with us about the Paycheck Protection Program, what you went through, the timing, the bank you worked with, and any advice that you might have for any small business or nonprofit that is viewing this and listening today. So let's start with last Friday. Tell me, or even prior to that, tell me what you went through and kind of those steps that you went through to get your application in.
Well, like any small business, Heidi, I knew that this was a critical time, right? I had been planning for, disasters in the sense that I have a couple months of payroll and expenses saved up. And just in case the rainy day happened, if we never thought that the rainy day was going to be a pandemic with no end in sight. So I was tracking what the federal government and Minnesota's response was, what different options there were for, potential funding, for small businesses. And, we looked at first the EIDL as well as the PPP protection program. And we decided that the Paycheck Protection Program was the best bet for us. So I had already had the initial application into my bank last Tuesday before the Friday that this program they were beginning the application. I was in direct contact with my banker. I work with a very, very small 9-branch agricultural bank called Citizens Alliance Bank. The branch that I work out of is out of Watertown, Minnesota, Carver County. I've been with them for about 15 years, and they know me by name. We have a long-standing relationship, and they wanted to make sure that I was one of the first people involved in seeing this thing get done. So I worked with, the trusted staff that All in One has with me, Billy, as well as Carrie Ko, and we made sure that all of the documents I needed were going to be available to me in a timely fashion. So as I was communicating with my banker, they were saying we need a payroll, some form of payroll proof of the last 12 months. Got that from and prepared quickly. They needed a P&L, they needed a balance sheet, got that done. Filled out my application, had both my accountant and Carrie review it, and then once I got the thumbs up from them, I sent it off to the banker. I was monitoring any information that was coming out of the Treasury Department about the program, and when I read the 31-page document they had about the rules for the program that came out last Thursday night, I knew that I was in full compliance. The only difference was on last Friday was that they needed a new application filled out. So I filled out that application and we submitted it, and they processed my loan application last Friday. I was in the top of their list of people to get done.
So your application went in last Friday, which was April 3rd. You had everything ready to go because you had your financials were in order, all your payroll records were in order, so you were able to get all that together. Your application went in on Friday, April 3rd. And so when did you actually find out that your application was approved by the SBA?
I got an approval email from Eric on Saturday morning last week, and they said that I was fully funded for the amount that I was seeking, which was a relief, right? But then there was some concern as to what is the SBA process and rules governing closing and funding of these loans. So I get this email demonstrating that the SBA had approved the loan, and apparently, at least you told me, that meant that they allocated the funds from the $350 billion program. Okay, great, right? As a small business owner, I believe it when it happens, right? So this week has been very emotional, in the sense that there's been some anxiety. Are we going to get funded? I'm talking to people who are business owners that have many, many more businesses, employees than I do. And, are they more valuable to the economy than my businesses? And would they be more in priority than mine would be? Right. So ultimately today, got documents, signed them electronically, sent them back to the bank, and the bank fully funded my PPP loan today.
So the money is currently in your account.
It is.
Wow. Hallelujah. That is just amazing. That is just such a success story. And now you can keep your employees employed on your payroll and continue to pay your rent and your utilities and all of those expenses that are approved by this loan program. And how does that feel as a business owner?
Well, the value of the Appelman Law Firm is our people, right? We care about people. And my staff is what makes us valuable. It's what makes us be able to do the different things that we do in criminal defense that everybody else doesn't do. I trust my staff. I love them. I care about them. And they depend on me as the small business owner to ensure that they have a job, that they can come to work, and that they can take care of their families. And so I was willing to do whatever I could to ensure that they had a place to call home, and that I wouldn't have to furlough them, and I wouldn't have to worry about them, and they wouldn't have to worry about it. So they knew that I was working towards this goal, and it's a relief for me. It's a relief for them. I will say this too, right? So working with All One has also enabled me to come up with a plan of action on how to process the PPP, funds that are now in a separate account. They're in the firm's savings account. We're going to work closely with Billy and Carrie over the next 8 weeks to ensure that the auditing of those funds will be used according to the forgiveness program of the PPP program. I don't want to have to take out more of a loan. What I want to do is I want to use it for the purposes that it's being given, and I want to verify that it's being used for the purposes that the loan was funded for, and then hopefully the federal government will forgive that loan.
Right, and not all of those guidelines are out yet, and as soon as they are, we'll certainly be coming out with all of those guidelines and programs to track them and making sure that all of the small business owners and nonprofits understand those and that they have clear guidance around those. So what advice, Avery, would you have for any small business owner or nonprofit that is still maybe considering applying for this program, or maybe is in the middle of that? Like, what were the key things that you did that made this happen so quickly for you? And what are the recommendations?
Well, so I have good people that I trust, right? Your staff and my accountant, right? And the fact that I'm already worried about my small business, so I was on top of this from Jump Street. My wife is a professional, so working with her as well enabled us to be on top, to read about all this stuff, to sort of triage. You read this, I'm going to read this, and let's come up with a plan of action, right? I wanted to act quickly because $350 billion, if you look at the landscape of the number of small businesses that are in existence in the United States, I mean, the money's going to be good, it's going to be gone. So if you're a small business and you're thinking that maybe I do this, maybe I don't do this, get your application in today. If you're already working with Heide and her people, talk to them, let them help you through that process. If you've got an accountant, have them help you pull the necessary reports that your bankers say you need. I fortunately bank with a small bank that knows me, that knows everything about our financials with their bank, because we bank with them and we have all of these other, financing, our cars, any type of long-term goals and capitalization. We've worked with the bank. They know us, so working with them in a trusting relationship has helped dramatically. I don't believe you get the same level of service with a big bank. Right? So if you can shift your gears and look towards a smaller bank now and maybe develop that personal relationship with them, that's what I think you should do right now, right? These people want to help you, and they want to help you quickly.
Well, thank you for sharing your story, Avery, and thank you for taking good care of your people, and thank you for your words of advice, and best of luck with the next little while here with this pandemic, and we know you're going to do great, and thank you again for sharing your story.
My pleasure. Thanks, Heidi.
All right. See ya.
Bye.